Well, things are heating up with the Democrats, and their Trump derangement syndrome is exploding. In fact, I think their TDS has really gotten to their head, because right now they are literally making Kilmar Obrego Garcia, an MS-13 gang member, also a wife abuser, as you're going to see in a moment, the poster child for Donald Trump, why Donald Trump should not deport. I mean, literally. Not only that, but in today's broadcast, there is an epic smackdown that takes place by the El Salvador leader there. He literally smacks down a Democrat senator. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that the Democrats right now, there's a secret meeting taking place every so often between 75 or 79-ish Democrat leaders there, where they are meeting to plot their legal strategies of a judicial coup against Donald J. Trump. Maybe that is why so many cases have been filed against Donald J. Trump. I mean, it's literally quadruple the amount of cases that this judicial coup has ignited against Trump than any other president in the history of the United States of America. I think the Republican congressional leaders really need to look into that, because there's some questionable stuff happening. And by the way, I've got an article today that literally is going to put you to tears over the fact that MSM, mainstream media, specifically CNN and MSNBC, literally covered up some very important information from their viewers. And quite frankly, it's going to piss you off. But let's start first with this Kilmar Obrego Garcia fella, who the mainstream media is having a love affair with, as well as many of our Democrat leaders there. But take a look. I put out this report yesterday on Restricted Republic. Hopefully you saw it, where I really get into detail on this. I'm not going to recap all of that. And by the way, I want to encourage you guys, get to restrictedrepublic.com right now and sign up. What you're getting here on YouTube, while they claim it's free, it's not really free, because they get to control what information, for the most part, goes up the feed. I am not one of those. In fact, many people have been unsubscribed from my channel as a result. But if you go to restrictedrepublic.com, that's not going to happen to you, and you're going to get exclusive inside intel. So sign up, use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5 to get it for $5 per month. That is a huge way that you can support what we do there. But I digress, right? So kind of back to the story of Obrego Garcia. Anyway, the mainstream media right now is out there advertising that he is a Maryland man who is a father of 5 and he was wrongly deported. And I'm going to give you the short story because I went over it yesterday in detail. Yes, the man had 2 deportation orders in the past. Okay, now his latest order said there is a temporary stay on his deportation. So in other words, there was a clerical error with Donald Trump and his administration when they deported him. And so this is what the Democrats are fighting against, right? They're saying, oh, he shouldn't have been deported. Well, bottom line, the guy is an MS-13 gang member. So yes, the Trump administration had every right to deport him regardless of that, because he is affiliated with gangs. But the mainstream media is out there literally right now lying to you, saying he's not a gang member. He's just a father and a Maryland resident. By the way, he's not a Maryland resident. He's a resident of El Salvador. He came here illegally. But this is the hill they decided to die on. Well, late last night, some new information surfaced about this man, and I'm curious how some of these Democrats are going to respond. And you might be shocked, actually, because they're still supporting him. But take a look. This was posted by Bill Malugin, and he says, Fox News has obtained the written domestic violence allegations for Kilmar Obrego Garcia's wife in 2021, in which she alleges he is a repeat wife beater and writes, at this point, I'm afraid to be close to him. I have multiple photos, videos of how violent he can be and all the bruises he has left me. In her own handwriting, she alleges that Obrego Garcia punched and scratched her on the eye, leaving her bleeding after throwing her laptop on the floor. She writes that on another day, he got angry again, started yelling and ripping her shirt off and shorts off, and then grabbed her arm, leaving marks. She also wrote that 2 times in 2020, he hit her. In November 2020, he hit me with his work boot. In August 2020, he hit me in the eye, leaving a purple eye. Now, here is the actual report, so you can see this is absolutely legit, but this was what she filed against her husband. So in other words, the mainstream media and the Democrats are literally supporting an abuser. What's interesting is, and the very unfortunate part is, his wife is still out there fiercely advocating for his return. And honestly, I don't know why she would want to do that. I mean, a lot of the times, and I'm forgetting, when you're abuser, you start to side with your abuser, and there's a word for that. Leave it in the comments. I'm not going to remember, but there's a term where you just start to think you're normal and you're friends with your abuser. Maybe she suffers from that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but either way, kind of odd, right? So this is the guy who abused her, and now she's fiercely advocating for him, and I feel sorry for them as well. But here's the kicker. Senator Chris Van Hollen actually went to El Salvador to, give the smackdown to the El Salvador president and basically tell him, you're going to let me see Abrego Garcia and you're going to let him go. Take a watch.
I just landed at the airport in San Salvador a little while ago. I'm now en route into the city. Looking forward to meeting with the team from the American Embassy. And I do want to thank our Foreign Service officers and the whole team at this embassy and embassies around the world for all the good work they do on behalf of our country. I'm proud to co-chair the bipartisan Foreign Service Caucus that stands up for the men and women who are serving our country overseas and at home in the State Department. After that, I hope to meet with some high-level government officials from El Salvador. As I've said before, the goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home, and we're going to keep working at this until we're successful. I also hope to have the chance to meet with him, but we'll have a better idea if that works out a little later on.
So he wants to meet with an MS-13 gang member and wife abuser. I told you, the Democrats are literally panicking and grasping at straws, and they're making the wrong person the poster child. And all of America is starting to know, and quite frankly, they're out there saying, we're lying about it. We're not. Abrego Garcia has 2 judges that have come out and said, yeah, he's got affiliations with MS-13, and there's even human trafficking in question surrounding the guy. But either way, instead of this senator giving the epic smackdown to El Salvador gives the epic smackdown to this idiot Democrat. And here it is, NBC News. El Salvador denies Maryland senator's request to meet with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So the senator drives all the way over there, and El Salvador's president's like, what the hell? No, you can't meet with a freaking terrorist, right? In fact, he's already told us that he's not going to release him. Here we have NPR, and this is just a reminder. El Salvador's Bukele says preposterous to suggest he return Abrego Garcia to the U.S. And here's what he said. The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the U.S.? Bukele said. So it's very clear that he is not going to send this guy back to America. Trump's not going to accept it either. But it's sick that this senator and other senators are literally wanting to bring him back to the country. There are a lot of people that this senator could have supported. Hey, maybe Patty Morin, who lost her daughter to, illegal immigrants. How about that? But no. He instead decides to stand for a little MS-13 gang member. But there's some questions here, right? I think Tom Homan can maybe do something about this. Tom, if you're listening, hey, you never know. I think there's some laws that have been broken. Take a look. Yes, these are the laws Senator Van Hollen is violating at a minimum, and she lists the 3 laws. Let me just show you. Here's the first one, the Logan Act. Any citizen of the U.S. without authority of the U.S., directly or indirectly, commences or carries on any correspondence or intercourse with any foreign government or any officer or agent thereof with intents to influence the measure or conduct of any foreign government or any officer or agent thereof in relation to any disputes or controversies with the U.S. or to defeat the measures of the U.S. shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Isn't this exactly what he attempted to do? Go and talk to El Salvador's leader there? Well, that's a bit questionable, right? Like, so I think we have El Salvador's president that he's trying to meet with. I think somebody should look into that. And here's another one, right? And here we have treason. Whoever, owing allegiance to the U.S., levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the U.S. or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be in prison 5 years, blah, blah, blah. That one may be a little bit of a stretch on it, but hey, I think the first one, we've got some real things here, and maybe even possibly this one, where it relates to aliens, right? It prohibits alien smuggling, domestic transportation of unauthorized aliens, concealing or harboring unauthorized aliens, encouraging or inducing unauthorized aliens to enter the United States. It seems like he broke that one as well. Tom Homan, if you're listening, I think there's something going on here because he's aiding and abetting illegal alien. And what makes it worse is it is a freaking MS-13 gang member. I can't stress that enough. Meanwhile, here's what's going to really piss you off. Patty Morin, bless her heart, this young woman here, in case you haven't seen it. Well, she got invited to speak to the press by the press secretary there. And she came out, and this is a 7-minute speech about the horrors that her daughter experienced and the whole 9 yards. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking what happened to her. But the mainstream media in any aspect decides that they're not going to air what this young woman has to say. So here this is. Stephen Shang shared this. Shameful. CNN and MSNBC refused to take Angel mom Patty Morin as she recounts the terrible tragedy of how an illegal alien killed her sweet daughter. So you can see here, I'm going to blow this up. MSNBC and CNN literally went off air. Say, oh, no, we're not going to air that when Patty Morin went out to talk about the death of her daughter. Now, why would the mainstream media want to do that? Why would they want to keep her story away from you and then advertise a story about Abrego Garcia, an illegal alien who is an MS-13 gang member? This should piss off every person. So they're out supporting a gang member who abused his wife, and they say, screw you. We're not going to air your story to a woman whose daughter was literally killed by an illegal alien. It's just so sad. In fact, Rachel Morin's mom pleaded with the mainstream media to tell the truth.
Please tell the truth. Exactly. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell how violent it really is. This is about protecting our children. It's more than just politics or votes or just anything. It's about national security, protecting Americans, protecting our children. Thank you. And thank you for listening.
Breaks your heart, doesn't it? Because again, breaks your heart, doesn't it? Especially that CNN and MSNBC did this after hearing that woman say what she said. They didn't care about her. They're too concerned with a freaking terrorist. But that aside, there is some other stuff going on with the Democrats that you need to be aware of. How about this judicial coup that has been ignited by the Democrats, come to find out, because this Democrat just said the quiet part out loud.
Every single week, we have a litigation working group where a large group of us, and I'm talking there's maybe 75 members of the House, sit down every single week with the AGs to talk about legal strategy. This is all going on every single week behind the scenes. It is nonstop talk, nonstop introduction of bills and legislation, nonstop being on social media as much as we can without being throttled and without the crazy analytics, and doing all these things.
That's a straight up admission that they have ignited a judicial coup against the president, and it's led by 75 members of the House, where they sit down and talk to AGs about legal strategy and how they're going to, use the court system against Donald J. Trump. Hey, maybe that's why he has quadruple the amount of files than any other sitting president ever. And they just keep freaking doing it. I'm so sick and tired of this. I am so sick and tired of this. I think that needs to be investigated by other House members there in Congress. I mean, seriously, this is a judicial coup, and she just admitted it, and she just said that 75 of them are at the heart of it. What the is going on? I mean, seriously. These are the same people that are supporting the MS-13 gang member and turning away a young woman, Patty Moran, whose daughter was murdered. Or hell, these are the same people that are all for Luigi Mangione, a freaking murderer, who are all for George Floyd, who died of fentanyl overdose because he was a drug addict, at least as far as I know, according to the autopsy, and sentencing extreme sentences to the people that surrounded George Floyd. How about we support the victims, right? I don't think that's too much to ask. But they've ignited this judicial coup. This has to get looked into. It really does. Encourage your House senators to investigate this, because this is not legal. This is 75 senators meeting together to try to usurp the authority of the executive office and use the attorney generals and the justice system to do it. And by the way, these judges, they claim they're randomly selected. No, they're not. And I did a whole report on Restricted Republic, hopefully you're there, where I proved that over I think it was 17% or something were Trump judges, and the other 100%, 75%. And it's even worse than that, right? My numbers aren't exactly adding up here, but we're all Democrats, picked by Democrats. That's statistically impossible. And this is what's being planned at the House. Encourage your members to look into that. But in conclusion, get to Restricted Republic. I started with this, but I really want you guys over there. Support what we do. And we do exclusive content that we don't share here. And I really would love to see you there. Use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5. It is cheaper than a cup of coffee, cheaper than a glass of beer or wine on happy hour in a lot of places today anyway. So I hope to see you there. Use the coupon code Lisa5 and get to restrictedrepublic.com today. Anyhow, I can't wait to hear your comments. I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.